News, Tracy, California. The search for 8-year-old Sandra Cantu has come to an end. Tonight, the pastor at a local Baptist church being questioned.
The bag was taken from the water and transported to the San Joaquin County morgue where it was opened. Inside the bag, we located the body of Sandra Cantu. Sandra Cantu was positively identified at that point in time. Dr. Omalu of the coroner's office will be conducting an autopsy to determine the cause of death. And our heartfelt sympathies go out to Sandra's family, her friends, and her classmates. From this point forward, investigators will be looking at all of the evidence that was collected and the evidence and information that we have collected in the prior days regarding this investigation. We will be determining the person or persons responsible for this reprehensible act, and we will bring them to justice.
This is an unimaginable loss for any parent. It's a very difficult loss for our community.
Police are searching a church near the Tracy, California mobile home park where Sandra Cantu went missing late last month. Investigators cordoned off the church property with crime scene tape. They aren't saying what they're looking for.
Police say her body was found wearing the very pink Hello Kitty t-shirt she was last seen in. Police have not identified a suspect.
In that last video, you see 8-year-old Sandra Cantu literally skipping with joy. According to police sources, in the next few hours, she was murdered. Straight out to Sebastian Kuntz with KNEW, joining us from Palo Alto, California. Sebastian, what happened?
Nancy, it was a very emotional day yesterday. It was in the morning, I understand it, when these farm workers at a dairy farm sort of began to drain one of the nearby irrigation canals. And during that process, it was for legitimate farming, purposes. They needed to just drain this canal, and all of a sudden, a suitcase kind of floated to the surface, which is highly irregular in the extreme. And they called the police, and the police immediately cordoned off the area and began examining evidence, taking
Sebastian,
photographs.
what was the tip? What do we know led police to that canal?
We understand that it was the farm workers that called the police.
I understand. And is it true, Sebastian Kuntz, Sebastian joining us from KNEW, that the same workers had been working in the area and were there as recently as 2 weeks ago, and there was no suitcase there, and so they became suspicious?
That's a possibility. We also understand that this area has been combed by the authorities, and during the 2 weekends that have gone by since the initial report of her being missing, and we know that both of those weekends were just huge manhunts with hundreds and hundreds of volunteers working on the case.
So, Sebastian, are you telling me that this canal has already been searched?
It's not entirely clear. The area has been gone through by the police. Tony Sheneman, the Tracy police spokesperson, has said that the area has been looked over and there was nothing there at the time. That indicates.
Okay, got it. Joining me right now, in addition to Sebastian Kuntz with KNEW Radio and Blake Taylor from KMJ 580 News Radio, with me is Sergeant Tony Sheneman, the PIO at Tracy Police Department. Sergeant, thank you for being with us.
Good evening.
Sergeant, had the canal been searched prior to yesterday?
First of all, it's a collection pond, approximately 150 yards by 50 yards, that's used as a collection area for runoff from the dairy operation. It's filled with biomass runoff from the cows and other animals that are there.
Yes, had it been searched prior to yesterday?
There were groups in the area that have looked throughout the land mass over there. No one was in the water, though.
Okay. With me, Sergeant Tony Sheneman from Tracy Police Department. I understand that the workers tipped you off regarding a suitcase. Sergeant, do we know cause of death yet?
We do not.
Sergeant, I understand that as we go to where a search warrant has been executed at Clover Road Baptist Church. Why?
Probable cause was developed over the last 2 days that proved to a judge that there was reason for us to enter the church. The warrants are being sealed and I can't discuss them.
Understood. To Blake Taylor, news director at KMJ 580 News Radio. Blake Taylor, is it true the pastor of Clover Road Baptist Church also lives in the same mobile home park as did Sandra Cantu, and he has been questioned for several hours?
Yeah, that's correct, and the sergeant can follow up on that. They did, in fact, talk to this pastor. Lane Lawless is his name. He's been in the community for several years. He is reportedly cooperating with detectives in detail. Now, in fact, Pastor Lawless and his wife were very outspoken to the media today. They came forward offering their opinion on the situation, saying they've known Sandra and her siblings for years. They consider them like their own children. The pastor's wife said Sandra and her granddaughters were, in fact, playmates, her great-granddaughter. Now, police are stressing that Pastor Lawless, even though he was questioned for well over 3 hours today, has not been arrested, and he's not considered a prime suspect here in Sandra's murder. They are, however, qualifying that statement by saying that nobody has been ruled out.
To Sergeant Scott Haynes with Santa Rosa County, Florida, isn't it entirely possible the suitcase can be traced back to the killer? That happened in the Melanie McGuire case, of course.
Absolutely. First of all, they're going to see if any family members recognized that suitcase or had seen it before. Possibly there could be DNA presence on that, as well as latent fingerprints.
It's been reported that we are arresting Pastor Lawless. That is not the case. He has been interviewed, as have hundreds of people. Everyone that we speak to could be considered a person of interest. We have no specific person that we are looking at this time.